Cut?
Yeah, again,
Don't you
I said
mean-
it.
Don't you mean action?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, welcome to chapter 25. This is the last chapter that we're going to do this year. I hope you guys are doing all right. This is super weird, and I don't like it, and I know you guys don't like it because you can only watch so much Netflix, and it is what it is, sadly. But this is the last chapter we're going to do. It is the chapter that's on paired matched t-test and t-intervals. So why is it called paired and matched? Paired and matched, it's pretty much the same thing. It's kind of redundant. You don't actually need to say both. You could just say a paired t-test or a matched t-test. Or if you want to be like me, you could put down a paired match or a matched paired t-test. So what makes this different than the one we just did, which was the two sample t-test? Why is this different? It's different because the two sets of data that you have in this one are going to not be independent, okay? They are not independent. They affect each other in some way, shape, or form, which means they are dependent. And so we are not allowed to do the two sample t-test, okay? If you remember, one of the conditions that we talked about in the last videos was the two samples have to be independent. We call that the independent groups assumption. That is not going to be the case in the data we're talking about in this chapter. And because of that, we have to do a new test. It's not actually a new test. We're just going to do it in a little different way. So what does it mean to be paired? A couple of examples, husbands and wives. Let's say I have one groups of husbands and one groups of wives. Their wives, okay, like husband, wife, husband, wife, husband, wife, husband, wife. Not just a bunch of husbands and a bunch of wives, but actual matched, right? They're matched. These are not independent groups. These are dependent groups. So that would be a match test. If we have a pre-test and a post-test, and it's the same person who's taking the test, then it's going to be matched or paired by test. But the key thing is it's the same person who's taking the test. I could have a pre-test with these students, a post-test with different students, and then that would be a two sample t-test. But if it's the same students, then we no longer have independent events. They are dependent events, and we do the match test. So this is a new condition that we have now, a new condition. So we're getting rid of the independent groups assumption, and we're adding the matched or paired data assumption, which you'll see in your book, okay? And so when you do that, I just wrote down data is paired by, what's it paired by, okay? Like, why do you know that it's paired or matched data? So when you do that condition, which you need to do, make sure you state what it's paired by. After that, everything else is the same. It's random, and then it's 10%, and then it's nearly normal. So just like we had before, okay? But what is the data that we're using now? Okay, and that's the key thing here. So we are looking for the mean difference in the two samples, okay? So we call that y bar sub d, the mean difference, the average difference. So you'd put your first set of data in L1, you'd put your second set of data in L2, and then we're going to create a third set of data, which is the difference between the two. And we did this a long, long time ago, but what you can do is you go to L3, and you don't go in the first box, you go all the way to the top of L3, and it's going to say L3 equals. What do you want it to equal? You want it to be L1 minus L2, or L2 minus L1, depending on which way you do it. I like to put the larger numbers first, but whichever way you do, it's fine. Okay, and that's going to get you all of the differences, and that is the single list of data that we're actually going to work with. Okay, so when we do the nearly normal condition, it's just this list right here. We don't look at these two histograms, we look just at this histogram right there. Okay, so that's all I could fit on this board right now, and after you're done with this, go ahead and click